Mr. Brown?
Present.
Mr. Rehouse?
Present.
Mr. Lloyd?
Present.
Mr. Lovington?
Present.
Mr. Anderson?
Present.
Mr. Elliott?
Present.
Ms. Garrett?
Present.
Ms. Longmire?
Present.
And Mr. Huff?
Present.
9 members are present.
I declare a quorum is present. I declare a quorum is present. And welcome, Mr. Lovinggood, to your first meeting. Mr. Anderson, if you'll lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Paul Huff. I'm the chairman. To my immediate right is Mr. Curtis Brown. He's the co-chairman. And to his right is our law director, Mr. Mike Loiters. Steve, if you would introduce the members of your team.
Today you have myself, Steve Elliott, Kelly Vaughn, and Kim Jarnigan from the Codes Office.
Thank you. Our voting procedure requires a simple majority of board members present. Today there are 9 members present, and that will require a minimum of 5 affirmative votes to pass a motion. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting?
Yes. Approved.
Second. All those in favor of approving, say aye, please.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals is authorized to grant variances and hear other matters by the Tennessee Code and the Knox County Zoning Ordinance, specifically 6.60 Board of Zoning Appeals. These laws prescribe strict parameters, the meaning of which is required to grant a variance. The burden of proof that an application meets these parameters rests on the applicant. Quoting from Knox County Code of Ordinances 6.60.04 variances, the purpose of a variance is to modify the strict application of the specific requirements of this ordinance in the case of exceptionally irregular, narrow, shallow, or steep lots, or other exceptional physical conditions whereby such strict application would result in practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship which would deprive an owner of reasonable use of their land. The variance shall be used only where necessary to overcome some obstacle which is preventing an owner from using their property as a zoning ordinance intended. For each matter, the clerk will read the request into the record. The chair will then ask if the applicant is present. The chair will then ask if there is any opposition or other speakers who wish to present. You do not have to come forward at this time. Once we determine the speakers for the item, we will call on governmental agencies such as Knox County Codes, Planning, or Engineering to make statements regarding the facts pertinent to the property and background of the request. Board members may ask questions of the governmental agencies once they have made their statements. The chair will then call on the applicant to come forward, state their name and address for the record, and present their evidence and reasoning supporting the granting of the variance. If there is no opposition, the applicant has 10 minutes to present their case. If there is opposition, the applicant and opposition each have 15 minutes, up to 15 minutes. After the applicant's presentation, the board members may ask questions of the applicant. The chair will then call for opposition or other parties who have up to 15 minutes to speak. This 15 minutes applies to all parties, so if there are multiple parties who wish to speak, please determine how you're going to divide your time beforehand. After the opponents present their opposition, the board members may ask questions of the opponents. Finally, there will be a discussion of the case by the board, during which time board members may ask further questions of parties that have already testified. The board will then make any determinations it deems necessary. Our bylaws allow an applicant at the initial hearing of the matter to request a deferral of 30 or 60 days without prejudice. In the event of a deferral of an application or failure to appear, any opponent may be heard on the record at a meeting where the application they oppose appears on the agenda. Mr. Law Director, would you swear in those giving testimony today?
If you are here to speak to this body, either for or against any item on the agenda, please stand and raise your right hand. If you're an applicant, if you're an opponent of a matter on the agenda, if you wish to speak today, stand and raise your right hand. I was waiting for those folks, because I would. All right, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, be seated.
Are there any agenda changes or corrections?
Yes. I believe item 4B, when they come up with a request, a reduced setback from they're requesting 35 to 25, we'll request a different setback, and I don't know if we want to get them up here now and talk about that, or if we can still make it come up.
We'll do it later.
Okay, and then we're going to change item 4F. I'm sorry, no, we had the other from the lot intensity.
There's 4E, I believe.
4E is when we go from, we're saying 4.6 to 0.75, and then we're going to withdraw the item, the last one, item 4F. We don't believe we have jurisdiction over the state of Tennessee, so I think we would request to withdraw that item.
Okay, when we get to that item, we'll vote on it for withdrawing it. Okay, if we could read the first item.
4A is a request from Tom Kimura and Bacchus for waiver of side yard setback from 8 feet to 4 feet. The property is located at 6704 Atari Drive, CLT map 048, or BB, parcel 020. Property is zoned RB. This is in the 7th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Yes.
Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Is there any opposition? Is there a statement from codes on this one?
None at this time.
Applicant, if you could step forward to the lectern and give us your name, address for the record.
Yes, sir. Tommy Backus, 6704 Otari Drive.
Okay, pursuant to Knox County Code 60.6 or 6.60.04, what evidence do you have to present to support your application for a variance?
Well, sir, we're requesting waiver of the yard setback from 8 feet to 4 feet for an accessory structure. That's the only spot in the property where we can put it's a tough shed. The backyard is a very steep elevation, so we couldn't put it there, reasonably put it there. On the right side of the home, it's taken up by the driveway, and we would be in the same spot with that property line.
Do you have any additional information other than what you presented in your application? I don't see anything that shows topography or steepness or any of the things that you presented.
There's not a topography map. That's our topography map showing the backyard, how steep it is. This is the proposed position of the shed.
Go ahead, Ms. Longmire.
All right, you're saying you're putting, let's say a tough shed, just a little aluminum storage. How big is it?
It's 16 by 24. It's wood frame. It'll be painted to match the house.
So it will look more like the house.
Yes, it'll be 5 feet away from the house for fire code, I guess. And it'll be for storing yard equipment, things like that.
All right, speaking of fireproofing, if the setback, and this is for codes, is less than 5 feet, fireproofing is required, and it's going to do fireproofing because of the shed?
It's 5 feet from the house. I believe we met the fire code for that. It's 4 feet from the property line.
It's,
Actually, there is no minimum distance between the dwelling and the accessory structure. The 5 feet that comes into play is between the accessory structure and the property line. That's what would require additional fireproofing. And in an earlier discussion, I didn't realize it was actually a tough shed. I don't know exactly how you would go out and additional fireproofing on a tough shed. If you could make it 5 feet, that would make it like a whole lot simpler.
So, you understand that if it were 5 feet, there would not have to be fireproofing if the setback were, instead of 4 feet, were 5 feet.
From the property line?
yes, the intent of the fire code is to keep the fire from jumping from property to property, not structures contained on your parcel, but from jumping to your neighbor's parcel. So you would need a minimum of 5 feet from this structure to the property line.
Okay, we could go 4 feet from the house, 5 feet from the property line.
Yes, you would need to, that's correct, you would need to switch that to a 8 feet to 5 feet.
So are you requesting that the setback be from 8 feet to 5 feet?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, what is a tough shed? I've never heard that before.
It's a built on site wood frame, similar to a home. It's built in that 2x4 framing. It's got wooden siding, shingled roof to match the house.
Now, is this gonna be a 2-story
No, one
tough
story.
shed? One,
One
okay.
story.
And this is strictly for tools?
Yeah, lawnmower, some storage.
No one's living in there?
No one would be looking.
I'm sorry, yes, Ms. Gary.
Have you talked with your neighbors? Do they have any issues with building this storage unit next to your house?
Yes,
Because of that property?
I do have one neighbor that came, my next door neighbor, which is the closest to his property, excuse me.
I'm Bill Grant, the next door neighbor, I'm at 6700 Target Drive. And I have no objections whatsoever to any variance you may grant or what you want. We wouldn't have even known it was that close to the property line if we hadn't paid for it, got property. We all thought the property line, by we, I mean my family and the person that owned the property previous to me for 20 years, he didn't know where the property line was either. There was a chain link fence built. It's not on the property line. Nobody knew. We wouldn't have known about him, and I still have. If he's granted variance, it's still gonna be a considerable distance from my property line. I don't have any objections.
How far is your structure, your tough shed, from where you're requested to change from 4 feet to 8 to 5 feet to meet the requirements, setback requirements? Now, how far apart is that structure from your neighbor's dwelling?
30, 40?
Okay.
That's fine.
I'll say it goes on a bit.
As long as you know.
Well, the code says how far it is.
I was gonna make a motion if there were no more questions.
Are there any more questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the waiver of the side yard setback from 8 feet to 5 feet for an accessory structure.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, I will voice an opposition. Motion carries. Before we go on, is the applicant for 4F here, that would be the sign? I'm gonna go ahead and out of order in the agenda here that next so that you don't have to hang around and listen to us talk the rest of the hour. Since we have, I guess, been told that we really don't have the jurisdiction to rule on this, it's a state issue. Go ahead, Steve.
It's part of the motion to withdraw it with the board, if they would wish to give them a refund of their money. I think it'd be appropriate for the board to vote on that.
I agree. The chair will entertain a motion to void this, withdraw this agenda item.
I make a motion to withdraw item 4F, waiver to increase the number of signs allowed on the property from 1 to 2 for Dr. Chris Whaley and Rome State, and refund their fees, whatever fees that they paid, because due to the fact that this is state property, we don't have, I don't believe we have any jurisdiction on state property.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members.
4B is a request of Thomas McNamara, Inc. for waiver of rear yard setback from 35 feet to 25 feet. The property is located at 1804 Chestnut Grove Road, CLT map 117, group FB, parcel 036. Property is zoned AG. This is in the 6th Commission District.
Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Is there any opposition? Any statements from codes?
There's lots of confusion about this one. I think originally the applicant had this thing designed, and as you can see the little inset on the new addition, kind of above where the cursor is, that there was, that area was going to be built, is going to be a square. I think the applicant has stated there's a koi pond there that he didn't want to get rid of or damage, so they have revised the layout of the addition. I don't believe they need a variance at this point. I think the applicant may want to come up and speak to that, but from looking at this site plan, I think they meet all aspects of the zoning ordinance.
Very well. If you could come to the lectern and state your name and address, please, for the record.
Thomas McNamara, 1804 Chestnut Grove Road.
Very well. Based on what Coach just said, is there any reason why you think you still need the variance?
Talking with my builder and talking with the architect, if you see the masonry part of that is right on the line itself, that would be at that point right there, where he's got his cursor. We'd like that, I mean, to make sure that we're following guidelines to go from the 10 foot we requested to 3 feet.
But your building's not going to be over it's not going to.
Well, the masonry part is exactly on the line itself.
That's okay. I mean,
Okay.
that's allowed according to code.
You guys are the experts on this
Yes,
whole property, so.
we would never catch a brick over the line.
Based on what Coach is telling us and what you're testified to, I can't see justification for a variance because there's not one needed to do what you want to do. So, does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Would that include returning?
I'm sorry?
This is for codes. Would that give him a refund for the application?
I think I would leave it at the will of this body. The previous refund was due to an oversight by us not having jurisdiction of the state. In this case, the applicant requested, so I don't feel like there was any fault with the codes office here. We took his variance request as he requested it, so I would leave that up to the will of this body.
You can keep those fees, that's all right, it doesn't matter. I'm okay with that.
Anybody else have any comments? Yeah. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to withdraw this item from the agenda.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any opposition? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
4C is a request of Steve Smith for waiver of front yard setback from 50 feet to 27 feet. Property is located at 401 Little Switzerland Road, CLT map 124, group OB, parcel 022. Property is zoned AG. This is in the 9th Commission District.
I don't think we mentioned this in the additions, but I believe there is an additional variance required on the side yard. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I forgot to mention that. So I believe this applicant is also, is going to ask for a reduction of the side yard setback from 10 feet to 8 feet, along with the front yard reduction. I think it was, as we talked about in the pre-meeting, the side yard was not advertised to the public, so I think the board would need to vote on whether you can accept that request today or if we would need to defer until next month.
I'm going to have advice from council on what we can do there.
I believe you can amend your agenda by a 2/3 vote of the body. So if there's a motion to add that variance to it by 2/3, then I think that's acceptable.
At this point, the chair will entertain a motion to add that side yard setback to the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Could we hear from the applicant first to make sure that, is the applicant here?
Yes, that's a good point.
Make sure he doesn't, that he sent us in a folder. I want to make sure that's correct before we get it in the agenda.
Are you going to request to reduce the side yard left from
10 to 6.
10 to 6? Did you make that request?
Yes, sir.
Name and address for the.
Like to request the front right corner of the building to move from 10 feet to 6 feet.
Need your address and name.
Yeah, name and address.
Yes, name and address and for the record, please.
I can't hardly hear you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Oh,
Yes, your name and address for the record.
okay, my name's Steve Smith. The record, for my address is 254 Hawk Circle, Seymour, Tennessee.
Very well. At this point, we're just
Address
discussing.
here?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
At this point, we're just discussing changing the agenda. So I'll entertain that motion to change the agenda to add this.
I'll make a motion to change the agenda to add the side yard setback for the front corner of the house from 10 feet to 6 feet.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made, second has been given. This vote will require 2/3 members. I think it's probably a good idea to call the roll.
Mr. Brown?
You're just amending the agenda. Have the side yard.
Okay.
4.
Mr. Rehas?
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes.
Mr. Levinger?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Ms. Garrett?
Yes.
Ms. Longmire?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes. Motion carries, so now we have the agenda correct. I'll go back and ask, is there any opposition to this? Very well. Can you give us your reasons why you need these
Yes, sir.
variances?
Yes, sir, I'm prepared.
topo map for this submission that showed it was like an 80-foot drop in the property from the street to the back side of the land. And to push this building back in, you would get into the septic systems, which I also gave you a letter from the health department, which they approved for it, to keep it out of the septic tank and the septic tank lines. But the biggest thing is the homeowners would like to have accessibility to the front of this building for wheelchairs, so they can get in and out of this building from the driveway. And that was the reason for setting it up here. And we set it back 27 feet, and we also supplied pictures of all the houses and stuff in the neighborhood with the setbacks on the road. The original subdivision was set with 15-foot setback because of the severe slopes on both sides of the road.
Is this building already built? Is this building already built?
No, sir.
No.
What is the purpose of the use of this building?
Well, the house itself doesn't have enough storage space or have any garage area with it. There's no place to put any kind of like yard equipment or for them to store suitcases or anything. There's like 4 there's regular closets in the house and no other storage spaces. So she want to put storage out there so that they can, put lawn chairs and stuff like that out in the summer and have a place to put it.
So this is not gonna be a living space?
There,
It's not going to be a living
no, it's
space?
not a living space at all. It's just storage for suitcases and old clothes and old furniture that they don't have room for in the house. They want to move out of there. There's electricity supposed to be in the building, but no water, or no sewer, nothing like that.
Is there anything that prevents you from rotating that building somewhat counterclockwise so that you don't need to be so close to the property line?
Is there any way you can rotate the building and make it where it would be more conforming, not so close to the property?
Well, the 6 foot on the front side, if we rotate the building down, it's gonna put it at an angle to the house. And then like have it lined up with the street and the house and involved in it. And, beside the property there's a 20-foot, reserve area down through there, which is not even the other people's property line or anything. So that strip right beside there, that's a 20-foot reserve. And that was put in there in 1954 by, the Little Switzerland water company, which is defunct and no longer there.
Sir, are the people that are going to be living in the house, are they handicapped?
Are they one?
Handicapped, do they need wheelchairs?
Their father is. And he's gonna be living there with us out there.
So,
Well, this is original family place that they've had since 1950 something. And then the mother's passed away and they're gonna have a place to be there for him to stay for a while. And we're trying to get everything accessible for him to get in and out of it. But there's no way he can get to it, or if you push it down the hill or something like that with it, then there's no way he can get down that hill for the drop that's in the side of the property. I don't know if you've seen the pictures or anything that I've given to you, but it's pretty steep.
what I heard was you don't want to change the angle of the building, but you could.
You don't want to change any of the building, but you could.
Well, if you see the way the thing's laid out there and everything else, if they pull that over 6 or 7 feet, there's a set of steps that go down the side of the house on that end, right there, and they go down to the basement door, going into the basement on that side. And if they push it over, turn the building in, anything like that, it basically pushes it back over that set of steps.
I didn't quite follow that.
Can you blow that up?
It would run into the set of steps that goes down to the basement.
No, it wouldn't. I'm sorry.
Well,
That's what he said.
that's not the house.
That's not the house.
Yeah, no, that's it.
One thing I would add is I I believe this right of way they're talking about, it's 20 feet if it were to be closed. This landowner would gain 10 feet, the other landowner would gain 10 feet. I believe this property owner has petitioned to close that right of way, but in order to close it, you have to have both property owners agree to close it. The neighboring property owner does not wish to close it. So technically, if they could close the right of way, they would meet the setback anyways. I don't know if that has any bearing on the case or not. That's,
If this was after that happened, then yes, we would not be talking about the setback issue. As it stands today, that it is too close to the property line according to the setback requirements. Can you show this hand sketch plot plan, Kelly? Can you bring that up within the back?
I believe the elevation.
The elevation or that one?
No, that one.
Okay. You can see the stairs.
Actually, I need the plot plan that looks like that. It's the one that's in the back. This one? I believe it's not. Well, I believe it might be, I'm not sure, I can't tell. That's it. And it doesn't, no, that's not it, that doesn't show there is a discrepancy between that one and the plot plan that was provided.
That building's gonna be about 30-something feet away from our house.
That would be it right there, Kelly. Can you zoom in on that yellow? No. Apparently we don't have it. Right, I understand. And okay, I'm finished with my discussion. It's not for me to try to figure out how to solve the problem. I just know that the problem could be solved and you would not need a side yard variance, but I'll leave that up to the rest of the board members. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Is this are you building this from scratch or is this a prefab storage building?
It's a stick built building. It's supposed to look exactly like the house with the same siding, same roof, same everything on it as the house. It's supposed to be aesthetically, it's not going to be like a log cabin sitting there.
Is there anything preventing you from making it 20 feet long instead of 25 feet?
It's 18 to 25.
Is there anything stopping you from adjusting it though? Is there any look at just adjusting it or even?
Can you adjust the size? Well, we adjusted it down it was going to be a 20 by 20. So we had enough storage space upstairs, downstairs, and there's two stories. It's part of underground, part of above. So we cut it down to 18 feet to get it off, get it as far over as we can. We go down 4 more feet to get it within the 10-foot limit and through there with it, we're only going to be like 12 foot. You know, we'll be
Still 2 stories.
14 feet.
But still 2 stories. But still 2 stories.
Still 2 stories? Yeah, still 2 stories.
Thank you.
I guess that's what I want to be clear on. You're doing a 2-story storage building and half of it is underground?
Well, part of it, the front part of it, of course, with the slope of the ground is going to be underground. The back side of it will be above ground. But it has to be cut down and leveled off in through there to get a level spot for it.
And it's,
The bottom, the front edge toward the house and the back edge toward the back down through the woods will be daylighted, and half the back will be daylighted. But the front section will be underground so that you get accessibility from that driveway to that top floor.
okay,
The bottom floor will be accessible from the courtyard that's in front of the house.
all right, thank you. And it's not going to be for anybody to live in, it's just storage.
It's just storage, yeah.
Does that,
I mean, if there's no water, we have no water permit or sewer permit, anything taken for it, so.
codes, is that okay?
The storage, yes, the accessory, it would not be approved for living space. And during our inspection process, we would ensure that they didn't put anything in it that would make it what would be considered a dwelling.
Does a two-story aspect change the side yard setback any?
Not for an accessory structure.
There are zones that do require greater setbacks for two-story, but not, the ag does not.
Any other comments? At the chair's discretion, I'm going to break this vote up into two. We're going to vote on the front yard setback and vote on the side yard setback separately. I'll entertain a motion now on the front yard setback from, what it was, from 50 to 27.
I will make a motion to approve the front yard setback from 50 feet to 27 feet due to the steep topography issues and that it would be pushing the septic system if it was moved elsewhere.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Anybody, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, please say no. Motion carries. Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the side yard setback from 10 feet to 6 feet.
I will make a motion to approve the side yard setback from 10 feet to 6 feet at the front corner of the building due to the steep topography issues as previously noted.
Second. Go ahead. All those in favor, please. Any opposition? No. I will register opposition to that. Motion carried. Both motions carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
4D is a request of Kimberly Hickman for waiver of periphery setback from 35 feet to 23 feet. The property is located at 6806 Adriana Lane, CLT map 038, Route ND, parcel 016. Property is owned Bza R, and this is in the 7th Commission.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition? If you could come to the lectern and please state your name and address for the record. Yes.
My name's Kimberly Hickman, and I live at 6806 Adriana Lane.
Are there any statements and codes on this?
It is talked about in the agenda review meeting. There is a 50-foot periphery required. The back of the parcel adjoins both PC and industrial. There's a 50-foot periphery required along the PC, but the industrial, there is no additional setbacks against residentials. That's the only thing of note that codes have.
Any questions of government agencies? Okay. If you could, tell us your reasoning for wanting the variance.
I'm wanting to put a sunroom on my back of my house.
And that's the only place that could go?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because the other side of the house where it could possibly go is where the water drains when it rains. It used to be farmland and they have certain ways that the water runs. So that is the only place that it does not run through. And I do have a letter from the lady that owns the business behind me, but she is not opposed to it. As I do my other two neighbors.
Any other questions? Comments?
How big is the structure going to be?
10 or 12?
10 by 12.
One level?
One level, yes, sir.
I'm looking at it's a map, it's a site map. It appears to me that one corner of the existing structure, or not, well, maybe I should clarify. Can you bring, yeah, there you go. That pink line, the outline, is that part of the structure, is that part of the sidewalk?
That would probably be my fence, maybe. I put a fence, a privacy fence around the backyard,
Okay,
so it comes from the back side all the way around.
okay. And what's the significance of the circle around the 35?
That would be my pool, I think.
So you're saying you cannot put this between the building and the pool?
No. I want the sunroom attached to the house.
Well, I mean,
But I'm not sure what building,
could it not be attached to the house at the corner nearest the pool?
no. That's where the water runs, from the top of the road. It drains down through and comes around the upper side of the pool and down out to the road.
So if I understand what you just said, the water drains from the cul-de-sac on Valeriano Lane.
And the water drains from up on Mill Road, down through the drains, down through the backyards. It starts up at Mill Road and then there's a culvert that drains down and then it goes down more.
Any
And
other
I'll show you a
comments or
picture of
questions?
how it does when it rains. If you wanna see that, I mean, I've got it on my phone, but I mean,
If there was a drainage way that we could see on the drawing, it would be helpful, but we don't have that. Is there anything in the topography that would indicate that? Steve?
No, there isn't. It looks like behind her house, there's a low area there, kind of where the cursor is, you can see that close contour of it. I'm not, from this photo, I can't tell the way the water flows, it's not detailed enough.
Are there any other comments or questions?
I will say I have seen the water running down through there, coming from Mill Road, from the industrial sites. And it's certainly off the pavements there and stuff, so there's water running down through there in the rain. And it runs all the way down to the main highway.
it goes down to the creek on the back side of my house.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, is there any of your neighbors in opposition to this?
Now, I've got letters from both of my neighbors on either side as well as, like I said, the lady that owns volunteer culvert behind me.
Chair will entertain a motion with regard to this.
I'll make a motion to approve the
waiver of periphery setback from 35 feet to 23 feet due to drainage caused by the topography of the land. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we're at 4E.
For E, request of Brian Yarbrough for waiver of lot intensity from 1 acre to 0.75 acre and waiver of rear yard setback from 35 feet to 5 feet. Property is located at 6806 Flatwood Lane, CLT map 048, parcel 01301. Property is zoned AG, and this is in the 7th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition? If you could come to, please come to the lectern and state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Brian Yarborough. I live at 1538 All Acres Drive.
Any statement from codes? None at this time. Can you give us the reasons for your request for this application?
Yes, I bought this property from my aunt, and I'd like to, build a 1,200 square foot home on the property.
She's speaking for the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I bought this from my aunt, and I've combined those two pieces of property in order to get as close to as an acre as I could. And I'd like to build, it's about a 1,200 square foot house that I'd like to build on the property.
Your, the emails that were sent said that you combined, I gotta get the numbers right. 6806 with, I believe it was 1308.
Right, at Pike, yes.
But in reality, you only incorporate a portion of 1308, is that correct?
Yes, because from Dry Gap Pike over to that red line, the county owns that. They bought that from my aunt because they're going, one of these days, it's been 20 years, one of these days, I think they're going to buy it in Dry Gap Pike.
So, what you're telling me, I guess what I'm hearing is the remaining portion of 1308 is owned by the county?
That's, there is, if you zoom out on the map, keep zooming, Kelly, the Dry Gap Pike has been improved. Keep going north on the map. Let's see where we at here. I'll go the other way, Dry Gap Pike. Dry Gap Pike has been improved from Emory Road to Cunningham. We have purchased right away to improve the remainder of Dry Gap Pike from Cunningham to Dante to 75. Not sure when that's ever going to be funded, but we have purchased the right of way. So he in fact is correct. We do own, Knox County owns that remaining property of 1308. If you zoom in, you can see there how big of a right of way swap we bought through there.
Okay.
I have a question, please. Mr. Chair, I have a question. One of the comments you made is that the existing driveway divides the lot. Is that driveway paved?
No. Well, part of it's paved from Dry Gap Pike all the way down. You can actually see on the plan there where it changes colors. It goes down and the asphalt stops right there, and then the rest of it, right up just a little bit, down with your cursor. Down with your cursor, come on down, right, up a little bit, over to the right. You went too far.
It is paved, that point.
Yeah. You can see where it changes from paved right there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get
Yeah.
on the lot, to see how far it goes into the lot. Thank you.
Any more questions about the lot size issue? Ms. Garrett?
What is on the property right now? Is there anything built up there, old structures or anything?
So if you zoom in on the rusty structure,
What is that?
that's an exhibit, that is when that picture was taken, that shed was there. All that's remaining of that shed is if you look from the left over to the right, there's 19 feet of that shed that remains. The other side of it, you can see how it started falling down. It basically all fell down and I removed it.
So there's nothing on the structure, the property right now?
The only thing that's left is a 19 by 19.
19. Are you tearing that down so you can build the house?
Well, I'm gonna leave the 19 by 19 building, which is it's in good condition, and I was gonna utilize that as the garage. I'm just utilizing it for storage now. But the section over to the right where 6806 is written there, that's where I plan on, that's the footprint of where I want to put my house.
Okay.
That's the reason I'm requesting the setback. See how the line comes down to that existing building there? That's 5 feet.
Do you need a waiver for an existing building? A 5-foot waiver, since the building's there?
I don't think that building's there, I think that portion of it's gone, and he's going
That section's there.
That section?
That's where the 20 by 19, it's still there.
And it's within the 5-foot.
It's within 5 foot, right, where that little area is there, where the little corner is.
I wouldn't think you would need a setback reduction for an existing building.
So the waiver of the.
Oh, well, actually, once it becomes a dwelling, the setbacks are different. As an accessory structure, it probably does with the setbacks, but as a dwelling,
Will this be a detached garage?
no.
So you're gonna incorporate this into the main dwelling, which will change the setback requirement?
No, I'm moving I'm gonna have a 12-foot patio between that existing structure and the house I plan on building.
So is this an accessory structure then, since it's not attached to the building?
I think I heard you say you're gonna use it as a garage, is that not correct?
It's a detached garage.
It's a detached garage.
Yeah, I think I'm confused here a little bit too, so.
So does that change its setback requirements, Kelly? If it remains a detached garage?
No, nothing's changing, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but you are talking about putting the dwelling.
Yes, correct, yes.
Yeah, this is the dwelling, is what we're actually talking
Right.
about. So, when we move this over, for the dwelling, the rear setback would be 35. So we reduce it to 9, that's the reduction, it's asking for 35.
Is the dwelling, will the dwelling be setbacks, is the question?
Well, the dwelling, I thought the dwelling would be 5 feet, but really, it looks like it's only gonna be about 10 feet.
Is there a compelling reason why you cannot meet the 35-foot setback from the rear property line? I haven't heard it yet.
Okay, so I want to be able to use that existing driveway and the existing, go back to the other maps. So the existing structure is gone. That piece of property is flat. I will be able to use the existing, on the right-hand side there is Flatwood Lane where it comes up. That's a driveway connection already to my property that's being used. So, and that's good soil where that section is sitting. It's been cut down to grade. The section across the, down towards the front is it was backfilled many years ago. I had a soil engineer come out to see if I could have a septic. It failed because that over there he said it was rotten soil. So I couldn't move my house over there because of the bad soil. Plus the driveway starts to fall down real deep in that area. And that's really the only place on that property you could put a house. Because between the shed and the red line, the red property line, between there, and that's an old concrete slab, that wide slab. Hallsdale Powell has a right of way that's within, let's see, it goes right through the middle of that concrete slab, all the way up through the property.
They have it right away, or they have it?
They have a right of way.
Does this right away show up on any map anywhere?
I don't know.
Yes, it should be. But they shouldn't have done that by deed, it should be. Look at the neighbor's parcels, it was applied on the neighbor's parcels. Back.
What are the dimensions of your house, sir? The one you want to build?
48 by 42.
Single story?
Yes.
Steve, can you tell roughly, or Kelly, can you tell roughly how far it is from the closest dimension from the driveway to that back property line? Just. No, that map doesn't show, does it show the driveway? No, yeah, there you go, that
From where to where?
one. From the back property where the back corner of that shed is, to
Yeah,
the,
back here.
yeah, from there to the driveway.
To the driveway.
No, the closest to the driveway. Up near up where the driveway makes it then, right there, opposite the shed.
Opposite the shed.
No, go
See.
over to you, go over to your right,
You go right there.
there you go, right there. How far is that?
Oh, we don't area. 71 feet.
Is that on the slab that next to Hallsdale Palace?
No, the Hallsdale Powell slab is right in the center of the map there. You see that white square right there?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And do a little quick math, your building's 28 feet.
28 feet wide.
Yeah, right, but in that dimension, or in that direction, it's 28 feet. You got 71 feet from the property line, you need 35 feet of clearance setback. There's enough room, if you move that building, your house, as close to that driveway as you can. I'm still not sure I understand why you need to push it all the way back to the back property line.
Because it also starts falling downhill, down grade when I do that. And there's also an existing power line, power feed, which I'm sure that KUB will move it, but it goes across to a power pole that's already there. That almost shows the exact footprint where I want to put my house in the development. And you can see by the map how flat it is there and how steep it starts falling down when you start moving it down.
Like you get right in there. Yeah. Right.
See how flat it is? I mean, see how it starts falling down?
You see where the parcel number is?
Yes, 6806.
Right.
Yes,
Right in there.
that's flat.
Right. And it's flat from there to the road.
Right.
So why can't your house be built as close to the road as possible, right there?
I am. I moved it as far as close to the, there's a 8-foot wide front porch on it, which makes it, 36 feet wide at that point, which pushes it out to the driveway as far as I could.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead. Ms. Gary.
that footprint,
So that footprint where the old building was, that you've taken down, that's exactly where you're putting the house.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask Code of Planning to measuring from the back of where he's planning on his house to be to that property line, that would be longer than 5 feet? Because if the 5 feet is where the corner where the accessory structure of the garage is at,
It is, yes, measure from there, Kelly, down to the back of the house. No, you're right. Right in there somewhere, measure down to the property line. How do we measure setback from that point? Yeah, but I think what I'm gathering here is that structure will remain. We'll take a 20 by 20 of that, we'll build a new structure with a patio in between, so the new structure would have to meet setbacks, so we need to figure out what the setback would be for the new structure, right? Is that-
Right there.
that's what I'm getting at.
And I'm sorry, that's not the request we were given, so I'm kind of on the fly trying to figure it out here.
And with all due respect, that's really not our purpose here. The burden of proof for your variance request rests on you.
Yes.
And we haven't seen all of the information that we need. I would make a motion that we defer, item 2 of this request to 30 days or 60 days, whatever you prefer, so that you can get Ms. Caitlin Fields or somebody with KT Designs to produce you a site plan that shows all of these power lines, easements, whatever, are out there at the driveway on the plan, so that we can see all of the things that you're talking about that we haven't seen on a drawing, and come back and talk to us about it at either the next meeting or the meeting after. I'll make that motion now. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries with 1 nay vote. Now the chair will entertain a motion to approve, or on item 1 of the request.
I'll make a motion to approve the waiver of the lot density from 1 acre to 0.75 acres.
Second.
For full use of the property.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? But that, item 1 of this request is approved. Item 2 of this request has been deferred. How much would you defer this, sir? 30 days.
Sir, do you understand what we're asking for?
Yes. Yes.
Just more information, that's.
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much. We have 1 item left on the agenda, the meeting dates. And based on our discussion in the agenda meeting, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the decision was made that we really can't change the number of meetings per year that we're required to have 1 month. There's some discrepancy in the language in the ordinance, but I think the most prescriptive language is that it has to be once a month, so that's 1 month. So I'm sorry, Ms. Margaret.
Is your current meeting going to interfere with the Thanksgiving holiday? Would you have him be doing it on the Thanksgiving holiday? You could move it to another day in the month.
We moved those in already.
We do, Mr. Chairman, we have the meeting dates. We didn't bring them today, because we were waiting to see what happened. At the next meeting, we'll provide you guys the meeting dates, and you guys can vote on those meeting dates and approve them, as we have them.
That's fine, I understand the chair has the authority to change the meeting date, I just don't have the authority to say we don't have to have a meeting in a month.
And I agree with that. So we'll bring the proposed meeting dates for, obviously, the January one's already set. We'll bring them for the rest of the year, and you guys can look at them, and if you want to change one, then we'll accommodate you with that, okay?
Very good, so I will entertain a motion to maintain the number of meetings per year, and we will discuss the meeting dates for each month in the next meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you very much, motion carries. That will be the end of the meeting.